Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues, dear friends, it is easy complicated for me to hold my speech because I really enjoy moderating these conferences, but now I'm taking an absolutely different role as a common delegate because what you heard today during the presentation is just an introduction to the topic. I would like to tell you more. Please run the presentation.
там русский вариант.
This is the English version on the slide on my left, and on the right you will see the Russian versions. I will speak quite fast and will be glad to answer your question afterwards. The situation with this project is quite interesting. The journalist asked me many times why we didn't tell you detail about it. And then I've got some journalists asking me why we decided to tell you about it today. And I remember the joke about the English boy that haven't sat for 6 years said the toasters are burnt out today, and he said I didn't have anything to tell you within the previous 6 years. Now I've got to tell you something. That's why I'm here. I'm coordinating the work of our project office for this new transport corridor, and I have to tell you that in AZT this project is under the focus of our president, Mr. Yakunin. I'd like to give you information from the first hand and know how to create a certain trust, and I'd like to address to you as the interest. It's a pity that 60 million tons of cargo turnover, only 1% of which is transported by the railway. We talked a lot that how we can also switch it to the railway, how we can improve the work of the transport corridors. We have good assets within this 15, 20 figures, because we have thousands of kilometers of our railways, not only in Russia but also in Angola, in a Baltic country. 2.4 billion tons of freight were transported by us, but as a transport potential, this asset is not being used. And for the business, it is very bad when the business assets are not used accordingly. We are talking a lot that we can transport 1 billion containers on trans-Siberian railway. Do you know how much is the transit volume through the trans-Siberian railway? I don't want to repeat this figure, and my colleagues are aware of it. And then in 2007 we came up with an idea to create a new international transport corridor through the Slovakia and Austria. That actually was a task how to make the trans-Siberian railway more live. Russia has three access to Europe. The northern one via Poland, so a lot of cars go to Germany. There is one through Hungary, and there is a way in the middle through Slovakia, and this way in the middle is being used not at the full capacity. Why Vienna and Pressburg, or Bratislava as you prefer? If we look at the current concept of the international transport corridors, there is a UN concept, there is OSJT concept, and all these corridors have a connection in the area between Bratislava and Vienna. It's quite interesting location in Europe. It already has very well-developed connections with the roads and river ports. When we came up with an idea, it was a discussion between the head of the Russian AZT with the Chancellor of Austria and the Prime Minister of Slovakia. The area between Bratislava and Vienna was chosen as the site for a logistic terminal of trans-European meaning. We had to carry out a feasibility study of this project, but as the Chinese used to say, those who go smoothly can go far. In 2009, we found a confirmation for our concept. The Roland-Berger consulting firm carried out a feasibility study for investments. Main conclusions are: it is possible to construct 15-20 track from Košice, which is actually on the Slovakian-Ukrainian border, until Bratislava. This project can be fulfilled technically, legally. It is also can be fulfilled, and it is also can be an economically beneficial. And you can also look at the website of the Breitspurplanungsgesellschaft, which is actually a project company responsible for planning this extension of wide gauge to Vienna. And I want you to do it in the near future. The total length can amount from 390 to 430 kilometers, depends on the route. At the moment, the route has not been chosen yet. As soon as we have chosen it, we don't want to publish it because we would like to use the existing railway line at maximum. We don't want any speculations on the land and real estate market on Slovenia. As for the total project investments, it is 6 billion euros. Main cargoes will be containers, 25 million tons in a year is an optimistic scenario. Here we have a lot of thoughts about this project. Roland Berger calculated the economics of this project based on the data of 2008. It was actually the peak year before the crisis.
Федор Степанович.
It was just before the crisis, but our institutions had completely different calculations. But we agreed here. We said, okay, let us be based on pessimistic scenarios, but still we would be able to gain profit. And actually that amount was quite large. We know that to place more than half of this volume of cargoes, the Austrian railways will need to invest about $1 billion in its infrastructure, which is a considerable amount, which will then provide more benefits for all participants of the market. This project is being implemented not for Russians to build their own gauge. This is another myth. I will not repeat any more myths. Somebody said that we are going to transport tanks via this broad gauge, but actually we want just to provide the conditions for increasing transit by generating new cargoes which will be useful for our customers. We want to reduce the travel time by half between Europe and Asia. Mr. Rutte said that we can switch 10% of sea transport to rail transport. So what hinders it? First of all, probably some kind of laziness. Second, the fact that the product is not yet ready. But we need to do this. We will certainly have cargoes which will actually be shifted to rails. And now that there is certain dumping, but in 5 to 10 years we will face a completely different situation. So even now we need to plan the capacity for the growth which we are predicting. The rail route, and this figure was assessed by our institutions, will make it possible for freight owners to save about $2,500 per container. When a container moves for 30 days from destination A to destination B, this is a huge waste of your capital, turnover capital. And if we have a liner for 20,000 TEUs, we understand that in terms of economics, our niche certainly exists. We are speaking about simplifying the customs procedure, about environmental friendliness and safety of our cargoes. But the attempts to do so are just sporadic, spontaneous, or are just temporary. We have tried to plan what we believe is not just extending the gauge to Central Europe, but planning what can be a really new service. That's why we will also add about 400 or 450 kilometers of gauge of track in Europe to 10,000 kilometers of track in Russia. That's why we could have more consumers. They are asking us, why another gauge? There are many myths that Russians want to have their own gauge. Yes, we were indeed really lucky enough to have our own competitive advantage because we have our own gauge, which makes it possible for us to transport longer trains, to have different loads transported. And actually, if we do this gauge, this will simplify the transshipment processes, the splitting of trains, another problem, increasing efficiency of the rolling stock. Here we have very reliable data. We can reduce the existing operators' costs by speeding up the wagons by 2 days. We are not talking about the construction of a gauge of 400 kilometers, but about the establishment of a new transport corridor, more than 10,000 kilometers long, which will make it possible to more efficiently transport cargoes between Europe and Asia, which will link Eurasia into a more competitive cluster, a more efficient cluster on the global arena. Another interesting consequence, and I'm glad that we have colleagues from the EU here today. We are talking a lot about integration, not only between different gauges, but also about integration between Russia and the EU. We believe that this could be a pilot project in terms of ensuring thorough work on integration of various technical systems, of legislation, and of course this project is reminiscent of what the European Commission wrote in their TNTs, shifting cargoes from roads and the sea transport to rail transport. It can be very environmentally friendly. There have been talks in Brussels as to how much money we are going to ask from the European Commission. Currently, we prefer saying that we would use your money if you gave it to us, but we will try to build our economic model in such a way as to rely on our own funds. We like to believe that there is money on the market and we will be able to take it. I will not repeat what is written here. You can read the conclusions both in English and in Russian yourself. But I would like to mention that I have appeared here before you today because we believe that this year will be a breakthrough and a decisive year for the project. Currently, we are talking about the fact that this year there is the possibility to finish the pre-feasibility stage, to start the design, to finish the feasibility study, and to actually construct all the infrastructure under this project. We have 4 shareholders. I am the manager from the Russian side. We are arguing about deadlines, most of all. And our colleagues from Austria and Slovakia say that 10 or 15 years is enough for only part of the project. But we say that if we only do this by the book, that we will lose the market. The market itself will change. The situation is that we just must speed up today. And according to Azadi's opinion, I run great risks by showing you this graph, but we think we will be able to provide or to announce a tender for the feasibility study by the end of this year. In 2013, over 2 years, we will probably develop the feasibility study. By 2016, we will finish the design, and we can launch this project in 2020. This is a very ambitious goal, but if we do not run risks, we will not be able to do anything. We have to risk. No pain, no gain. Finally, if we do everything correctly, I liked what Mr. Kern said, and it's very good that we heard it from Austrian railways. One of the tasks of a railway is to generate growth and generate new cargo traffic that will come from the Asian Pacific region, which will make a great impact on the development of European economy. The number of countries which will benefit from this project is 32. Unfortunately, we do not have the methodology to put together the macroeconomic analysis and the cost-benefit analysis. This is the objective of further stages of the work. That's why I'm looking forward to our next discussion, to be led by Mr. Mikhailov on investment in infrastructure, which is because Mr. Mikhailov heads work on preparing the financial and business model. I think there are some things which will make this model good. We have the vision, we have strategic initiatives, we have a team which knows what to do and believes that it can be done. We have resources to continue this work, and if we do everything right, then we will find resources for implementing the project. And we will ask you in the near future for your assistance. We really need your assistance in terms of analysis and confirmation of cargo flows. We made a prediction of 24 million tons, but speaking with concrete freight owners, forwarders is a different thing. We need support, including political support. We understand that it's very difficult to push through a project in European Union, even a small track which is not a priority when planning investment. But we will try to do this, and we will try to find support at the top government of countries. Mr. Yakunin said that we could actually open a club of European companies such as Italian Railways, Deutsche Bahn, because the business which will emerge from this new traffic flow will also be beneficial for others. The Czech Republic, Vengria. And of course, these are new opportunities for you, because this project will not be closed for the business. According to one of the concepts, all the operators' activities will be up and on the market. So whoever will have the time to catch this train in the next decade will provide for themselves good and reliable development potential. Thank you.